If you do not restructure Nigeria, I can tell you we will not move anywhere. You may call it different names, devolution of power, through fiscal federalism, by whatever name. The important thing is that the current system we operate is too.
Hello and what's up, guys? In this video we are diving straight into a fairy warning from South leaders, and trust me, you need to hear this. They are saying it loud and clear. Restructure Nigeria now or forget progress. According to them, the current system is simply too heavy, too messy, and too unruly to work. One even mocked the Yoruba and Tinubu, saying that despite all their calls for restructuring when they were not in power, now that they are in charge, nothing has been done. The leaders insist Nigeria is heading nowhere fast unless urgent restructuring takes place. They describe the current system as too behemoth, too elephantine, too uncontrollable, and they claim it can never take us to El Dorado. They remind Nigerians that our founding fathers built this nation on principles of fairness, balance, and unity. But today, those foundations has been completely abandoned. From physical federalism to devolution of power, they argue that the only way forward is to return to true federal principles, where states and regions take responsibility for their own development. And guys, this is not just talk. These South voices are pushing for a brand new constitution, one agreed upon by the people through open debate and referendum, not just decisions by a few in the National Assembly. They believe that without restructuring, Nigeria will remain a country moving without compass, going in circles while other nations move forward. This message is direct. The center is too powerful, states are too dependent, and until things change, Nigeria will remain stuck. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
Physical federalism. They got power. They didn't even touch physical, much more federalism. The Yorubas restructure. The Yorubas are in power. We have not heard restructure. God bless you.
This is a very interesting topic. I will not take your time. Just to say that I've written extensively on this thematic area, restructuring. If you do not restructure Nigeria, I can tell you we will not move anywhere. You may call it different names, devolution of power, through fiscal federalism, by whatever name. The important thing is that the current system we operate is too behemoth, too elephantine, too unruly, that it can't work, can never take us to El Dorado. 67 items on the exclusive legislative list, including how your marriage is carried out and how you live with your wife in your house. It can't work. I therefore believe that this book has come at the right time when members of the patriots are also clamoring for this new constitutional dispensation. And without a brand new constitution agreed to by the people after extensive debate and subjected to a national referendum, as was done to the constitution of 10th August 1963 that birthed the Midwest region, the old Midwest region from the Western region, we cannot move anywhere. Let us not deceive ourselves. We are tottering. We are going without a compass. May God bless Nigeria as we read and digest this book and try to do the needful. Thank you all.
Already we have all the knowledge from chapter to chapter that will guide us to go through this book. I want to support the chief launcher or the unveiler with the sum of 1 million naira. We believe
to join on behalf of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum. Sorry, my attention is distracted. Okay. On behalf of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, of which all our sons and daughters from the South are members by birth, to congratulate His Excellency Sir Celeste with the book reviewer that it takes courage to address this subject matter. But I fundamentally disagree and derogate from the things that have been said by the book reviewer, that some of those people who have been commenting this subject do not understand the subject. They do. On the contrary, it is the people that don't want to understand what restructuring means that don't want to understand. Restructuring is a matter of semantics. It is simply for us to go back and review what was there. to relook at it, restore it, reorder it. So it's just semantics. But what is fundamental is that nations are built by foundational principles. When nationalism started in Nigeria, it came in the aftermath of the Indian independence. And before this event started, I was in a conversation with Chief Chibuike Amechi on the fact that our founding fathers had elite consensus. They reminded each other at every beck and turn that we are different, but we have chosen to be one. There was a consensus that Nigeria, and whenever Azikiwe told Sadwana or Tafawa Balewa that we are one, they said, no, Zik, we are not one, but we have decided to be one as a people. India and Pakistan, on the eve of their independence, said we don't want to be one. British separate us, and they were separated. But in case of Nigeria, our father said we want to be one. Then they now said these are the principles on which we are going to stay together. We are fundamentally derogated. We are fundamentally departed from those foundational principles. So when people talk about restructuring, whether it is fiscal regime, or it is devolution of power, or it is any other thing, it is saying that let us try as much as possible to erect those pillars that our fathers erected as guiding principles for the Nigerian Federation, which all countries do. And that is what happened in America after 1776. George Washington, Thomas Paine, and Jefferson and all of them, Federalist Papers, agreed these are the principles for the American Constitution. So when we talk about restructuring, as Obang Victor Atta said, there were principles. So we're happy that Your Excellency have put this down, and we should allow more Nigerians to converse, to discuss, and spread the ideas in this book and similar thoughts, and let us see how we can make our country better. Restructuring is just a word. Let us look more at the moral and ethical background to that word, restructuring. On that note, I'd like to say that we from the South hold very strongly that we need to keep conversing about our country. We should not shut down people from talking, and we will buy copies of this book for all the state chapters of PANDEF with a sum of 1 million naira. Thank you.
How the brainchild of picking on that topic, restructuring Nigeria the way forward, came about, and how you intend to sustain such kind of good intellectual work.
Good. Thank you for, in the first place, thank you for coming. It's really my privilege to see you gentlemen here for this book launch. The idea of putting the books together was born from the fact that many people talked about restructuring, the need to restructure Nigeria. It became a tribal thing. It became an ethnic talk that there's need to restructure Nigeria. Some people even thought of restructuring Nigeria to mean state creation. Some people thought of restructuring to mean things that are personal to them. Some thought of restructuring in different forms. And I sat down and wondered what would be the need for Nigeria and for the good of Nigeria and for the interest of everybody, not just this scattered interest. You will see that at the time we had Afenifere people talking of restructuring Nigeria. You hear Ohaneze Ndibo talking of restructuring Nigeria. You hear of all different parts of Nigeria talking about it. But many out of this desire were just selfish, personal. So I now came up with the idea and traced the history of Nigeria from the colonial period, how Nigeria was united, how it was disintegrated by different forms and functions. The unification of Nigeria, the North and South dichotomy, and the regionalization of Nigeria, and then the creation of states. All this affected Nigeria and Nigerian interests. So all these I picked and put together in the book so that we will be guided, Nigerians will be guided. And I realized also that there's a lot of sentiment by Nigerians on the whole idea of restructuring. Some believe that if you restructure, they will be marginalized. Some believe that if you restructure Nigeria, their economic interests will be affected. Some believe that already they are being marginalized because of their interests, their economic power or economic interest being taken away from them. So I put all this together and came up with this book. And that's how the book came about. Yes.
Do you think the current National Assembly have the courage or the political will to implement some of your recommendations in this book?
In the first instance, I must make it clear, the steps taken by the National Assembly for restructuring is completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. The National Assembly is only a minute number of people who are affected by the current situation of Nigeria. So if they are to do restructuring, let there be a body, like during it was Babangida's period where we had Constitutional Assembly. We had also a body during Jonathan's period for restructuring or constitutional change in Nigeria. This is what they're supposed to do. If you look at the gathering in Hilton, how many people were there to air their views and propose ideas on how to restructure Nigeria? Very few. So that does not represent the whole interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. There should be a way out where majority of Nigerians will be put together and they speak for the common interest of their people, for the purposes of restructuring Nigeria, both constitutionally, geographically, and other means of restructuring. The steps they are taking is not right for the interest of the general of Nigerians as a whole.
What steps should we take to get some of these thematic areas you mentioned in your book? What steps do you think we can take to make it right?
Now, I have said that earlier on in the book that state creation was a good idea in restructuring Nigeria. Before the state creation, we had regional government. And the regional government didn't work well because there was a dichotomy between the minority and minority ethnic groups and majority ethnic groups. And the minority felt they were being humiliated and they continued in the protest. And so the thing went on and states eventually were created. When states were created, some other people also thought they were being marginalized. But then it was a better step than the regional government. Now, in the book, I proposed what we call provincial system of government. The provincial system of government is what we now have as the geopolitical zones forming their own system of government. Now, the geopolitical zones are made up of states. I give you an example of South-South, for instance. South-South is made up of about six states. And the 6 states will form the province in Nigeria. Now, the 6 states will locate where the headquarters will be. And when they locate their headquarters, they will now they have their own legislative body. While the state legislative body, that is the House of Assemblies, Houses of Assembly will remain. And there will be a provincial House of Assembly. You understand? Now, from the state provincial House of Assembly, we will also now have the Senate also coming from the province. Now, I propose that the idea of House of Representatives should go. The idea of Senate remains, but then it will also reduce the number of senators because each province will now, well, not by nomination, by election, have up to 10 people from each province representing them at the Senate. So if we say 10 times 6 provinces, that is how many? 36.
10 times 6.
That's 60 senators instead of 100 and something. And that goes a long way to reduce costs, bring the best brains in the administration of Nigerian legislative system. Now, the same thing goes with the judiciary. The state high courts will remain. That's my own proposal. The state high courts will remain. And with the state high court, there will be a provincial court of appeal. Still, there will be federal court of national court of appeal for national level. Now, with the national, with the provincial court of appeal, we now have Supreme Court. So there will be no need for appeal from to state, to province, to federal high court to all sorts of levels. We now have state to province to Supreme Court. That shortens the long run where judgment is being delayed for more than 1, 2, 3 years. In fact, Supreme Court now can keep your case for more than 5 years if not gotten judgment. So this reduces the number of years people will spend in getting judgment. The same thing with the executive. Now, you look at the economic power. The physical federalism we are operating is not the best for us. Every village wants to be a state because there's a ready-made money. Every person wants to fight for his local government to be a state at the national level because you think the money is there. And yet, there are few states that are generating income for the federation account. You understand? So, if we now say that each state should take 50% of what that state generates, 50% of that goes to the province. 50% of what is generated at the province goes to the federal. Now, 50% of what is generated at the federal is retained by the executive. The 50% of what is left is now distributed amongst the remaining states. It simply means that you will work hard. Each state will be made to work hard to raise their own income and sustain themselves. You understand? If states are made to work hard and sustain their own their economy, and then the province, you see that there will be little wastages, and then there will be economic development at the state level. There will be competition for survival amongst the states and the provinces. Each state will be made to work hard to survive. Each province will be made to work hard to survive, and so on and so forth. But as at now, it is just 1 or 2 states that are producing, and the rest are enjoying, and many more people are calling for creation of more states for themselves. So if you have the physical federalism changed properly, it will help in the development of the states, the development of local government, development of the provinces, and also development of the federal government. And then the fight to be the president of Nigeria will stop. Every person wants to be president, everybody wants to be president, no problem. All because there's too much money at the center. Now, many other things. If you look at the executive power, the powers are being generated at the center. Like one of them said there, that there's too much concentration of power at the center. The devolution of power is necessary to reduce the overbearing at the national level. So, yeah, if we talk about security, yes. Security, I really don't support wholeheartedly the issue of state police because it could be mishandled. But then the state police could only exist if we have the provincial police. If we have provincial police, who will now post the policies to different states within the province? The state governors will not have absolute power to control the policies of the policemen or police officers posted from the province to their states. But if they are made to be state police, this is a new idea. If they are made to be state police, the powers of the governor will overrun the opposition parties. They will use the police because he who pays the piper dictates the tune. If the police state is being created by the state, appointed, promoted, salary paid, then they are finished. So what we can only do is to do the state police, but then must be posted from the province, so that a policeman from Akwa Ibom will be posted to River State police will be posted to Delta, and so on and so forth. So you don't have absolute control of the police because you didn't employ the person. You're not paying the salary. It's the provincial policeman. So that's my own idea of state police. I think they should think this way. They have been thinking of state police. No, let us change the idea of state police. It's different from other.